Hello viewers, Mary Met. I thought I'd talk a little bit today about photography. Since it's going into summer, there are a lot of wonderful things to take photographs of, such as plant life and wildlife that's native to your area. Now, contrary to popular beliefs, you do not need an extremely expensive camera to take a great photo. I take most all of my photos with this little Nikon Coolpix 5100, S5100. Now, it's all about shopping for, I paid about $135 for this, by the way, on eBay. It's all about looking at the functions of the camera, thinking about what functions you're looking for, and purchasing accordingly. The super expensive cameras are fantastic, but they are extremely, extremely touchy. And if you're just starting out taking pictures, I would not recommend a more complex camera, such as one of the more expensive SLR 6000s, which are around $1,000 cheap. Now, that being said, once you've taken some pictures, that's all well and good. But if you're wanting to display them, matting is a really good option. It really makes your prints pop. Since there are so many different colors and shapes and sizes of matting to choose from, I would recommend bringing a couple of prints along with you when you're going to shop for your matting, to see which suits your photographs best and which is more to your liking. I would recommend starting with a print that is an 8x10 printed on an 8.5x11 piece of photograph paper. I do my prints myself. You can always go to a Kinko's or a printing shop and have them print for you. If you do print at home, I use a high gloss photo paper. It's fairly expensive, but it's worth it. I also use an inkjet printer. You can use whichever printer is convenient, whichever printer is best for you. However, the inkjet does tend to darken the photo once you put it onto high gloss paper. I'm not unsure why, but it just does. Now, another example. This used to be a couple of gradients lighter than it is. The inkjet had actually darkened it. Not too noticeable, but I suppose it's noticeable for me. Now, when you're choosing a matting for your print, it's good to take in mind how the particular matte border will contrast to your photograph. For example, whites and creams are very, very good for black and white, since the photo itself is usually fairly dark, it's got a lot of gray, got a lot of black, not a whole lot of white. It really draws away from it draws your attention more to the center, to the photo, and less to other busy things. And it also does not blend into the photograph. What you're looking for is a good contrast that accents it nicely. For example, this is a picture of a river, and it's accented by a eggshell to cream white border. Now, I would like to say right now that the matting and the border, the matting and the mat on the back are two different things. You actually take your photograph, which is why we have a little bit of a border, and you tape it into the center, on the back, into the center of the whole of the matting. You then take double-sided tape, get yourself a thick piece of foam. You can see that that's two different pieces, and tape the foam to the back of the matting. Simple as that. Now, that being said, we're going to move on. Now, if you have photographs that are fairly busy or that have a lot of different color, I would not go with a white. I would go with more of an off-white to a cream color. More of a beige is probably a good idea. Because it's not stark white against the brightness of the photograph itself, because you see we have a lot of green, we have a lot of white itself in it, the browns and the red and the oranges. So it really accents it nicely if you have a beige, because it's more of a subtle bit of color instead of a really stark white. Now, if you are using a vibrantly colored print that has a lot of the same color, it would be a good idea to use a darker matting, a darker border with maybe a little bit of a light in border, which you can buy pre-made or you can make them yourself. Now, this is a picture of a Zamzam. Very, very, very green. So I have bordered it with black, and I've got a little bit of a cream color on the inside here. And it really brings your attention to the center. Now, that's all well and good. You know, what if you don't like black, if you don't think it's good for you, that's all right. That's why there is 50 million different colors. Another good idea would be if you are trying to make other colors besides green pop, then you would use a lighter tan color to accent the subtle greens and the purples and reds and the blues. Now, before you start looking for your matting, you need to get your materials. And the materials are as follow. You need to get your, I prefer a large board of foam. Usually acid-free is the best because it won't degrade over time, so you have your photos for longer. And you need double-sided tape, must be double-sided tape, and you need a bit of Scotch tape to tape your photograph to the matting itself. I unfortunately don't have any mats to show you how to do it, but I'm sure you can find some videos, and I will probably provide a link somewhere. Not quite sure. I think that is it for today. Just remember that there is beauty all around you. All you need is the eye to see it. Blessed be and merry part.